Clint, how are you
Dude,
doing?
dude, I'm doing wonderful. Welcome to On the Road to Rock. Mercury from
Thank
Priest,
you very much.
joining us all the way from Sweden. Mercury, I hope. I've always wanted to go to Sweden. Norway is a big place on my bucket list, but tell me you at least enjoyed some great midsummer festival in the last few weeks.
I enjoyed it a little bit too much,
So
but now I'm back on track again.
that's what I like to hear. We just had the 4th of July here in America, probably very similar to like midsummer.
Oh, yeah.
Eh,
That's the same thing. But you 4th of July must be wilder, right? We just drink our heads off, but you celebrate as well.
Yeah, very very similar. For those people that in America that have only seen the movie Midsummer, the Ari Aster film, please don't let that deter you from going to Sweden because it's a wonderful place. And there's no
What's
there's
wrong with
no.
that movie? It's exactly like that. What's not to like? What's
I
not to
love
love?
that. That's one of my favorite horror films of the last few years, I will say. But
Yeah.
don't worry, you won't be ritualistically murdered if you go to Sweden for Midsummer, right?
I guarantee it. Not under my, not under my watch. No,
Well, Mercury, this is just awesome to have you. This is such a pleasure.
likewise.
Big things coming for
Yeah.
for the band Priest. The album Body Machine comes out here, I believe, July 15th, at least in Europe, America as well. July 15th.
Synchronized all over the globe. Yeah. Yes.
Wow, you think that back in like the 80s and 90s, it was always like, oh, the new Iron Maiden comes out,
Yeah.
this date in Europe, and 2 weeks later in America. So we got that synced
Yeah,
up,
but
I guess.
okay, so you got that as well, because in Sweden we didn't get the movies until 6 months later.
Right.
It was premiering in the US. How can we see it? How can you before internet? Then finally after a couple of months, then we got it as well.
Well, that's funny you say that. So this album, and of course, it's got 10 tracks. We've heard a couple singles with great videos, A Signal and The Noise, which is featured in an upcoming Mel Gibson film, by the way, the trailer for that, which is awesome. And then
Yeah.
Techno Girl. Those are the 2 videos we've seen so far.
Yeah.
This album seems like this is kind of almost a departure from what you did a little bit. It's a little darker,
Yeah.
little more moody. Just kind of talk about the process of this and the impetus for this upcoming album, which looks like it's going to be really big for you guys.
Thank you very much, and we're very excited about it. As we said, it's out July 15th, and we have we try to get more bass on the album, if that makes sense. It's gonna be heavier, more danceable, rhythm driven, but we don't forget our heritage in like really pop melodies and like pop tracks as well. So you got that in there as well. And we look back at the 80s, we look back at the 90s, and try to get a good blend of that, but not without having our own touch and a more modern touch on top of it. So we're very proud of this, and we think we're stoked about it. We can't wait how it's going to be recepted by the fans and by everyone.
I feel like here, even in America, that a genre like synth pop or whatever you want to label it as has become widely more accepted here just in the last few years. I think because there's so many shows here that kind of harken back to the 80s, Stranger Things like that really bring in that style. So when you hear that music, it's almost like it's making a comeback here in America. I know in Europe, specifically places like Germany, it's always been kind of at the forefront, but for you guys, this style of music is kind of making its way back, and you guys, like you said, there's kind of a nostalgic feel to it, but also a modern flair as well. How do you balance that? Do you feel like that the modern stuff, how do you kind of bring that into this and kind of meld it together, as so to speak?
I think it's you take something you love that you grew up with, like a band like maybe Depeche Mode, Erasure, or like Soft Cell. If you redo that stuff today, you have a different equipment. Like you have soft synths, you have computers, you have a lot of other gear that they didn't have back then. So even if you wanted to make it exactly sound like back then, you probably wouldn't have the money to get the synths or the tape machines or whatever, or the mixing tables. So you end up with a more modern product, even if the sound is retro. And if you have also listened to a lot more music that came out after that. So that gives you unconsciously, I think, a flavor of the whole spectrum up until now. So I think automatically you get a modern touch. and you get some new cool, effects. You didn't have sidechain back in the 80s at the same, but the synthwave artists discovered that definitely in 2008, around there, when they started to make the synthwave tracks big. It's a collaboration with the past.
That's a wonderful way to put it. Priest is also a very visual band, as people who are listening to this as a podcast can't see Mercury's mask there, but if you're watching on the YouTube channel, you can see there's a very visual style to Priest. Where does it kind of come from? Because obviously, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but coming from a band like Ghost that is very visual as it gets.
Yep.
I'm wearing a Wasp shirt. Wasp is one of the most visual bands. I love bands like Kiss and from that era, Alice Cooper and bands that have that visual stuff. How did you guys kind of form yours, and where does like your mask come from?
Yeah, it's I played in Ghost before, and I was in a theatrical band, and it was super fun, and I learned a lot about it. And one day it was over for me. I didn't want a party to stop, so we tried to just do our own thing. Not start another metal band, maybe, but do it not too close to. Now we look exactly like Ghost did 2013, but when Priest started out, we had leather masks, like gimp masks,
right,
and suits, more like Kraftwerk. So we did synth-based music without guitar. So I think we had the similarities, but we also were completely different. Had we been doing the same music, Priest would have not been here today. But I think the fact that we actually did industrial goth synth music made us stand out as well, and we could use the same shtick as Ghost as well. We're from the same hometown. We connected, why not use it? So we did, and it was good PR. Made us save a couple of years doing really small gigs to get somewhere. We could climb up the ladder a little from the floor, at least, when we started Priest, just because of that. So we just went for it.
Where does this sound come from? Because the band forms in 2017. You and another member leave Ghost to form this, and you've got Simon Soderberg as one of your engineers and producers. So when that formation happens, how does this sound form? Is it just kind of born from your guys' mutual influences? Is it a production how did this sound kind of form back in 2017?
I think it was like we released the first stuff in 2017. We started a little earlier to talk about it and experiment with synthesizers. Both Simon and I and other guys in the band have a mutual interest for synthesizers. We like the electronic gear. And Simon used to work in a record store before he quit his day job and started play full time in Ghost. So he had a lot of knowledge about it, and also a great producer. So it was mostly a decision. We decided we're gonna do a synth band instead of a metal band, and then we just. But with that said, all of us, both me and Simon, have only mostly played in regular rock or pop bands before. So the thinking of the music is like, oh, we have the rhythm guitar synth there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have a bass, yeah, and I think the mixing and everything is, you can hear that it's somewhat a rock band playing, but it's synthesizers, So it's if you compare it to like other synth-based bands which maybe haven't have that background, you can hear they use synths and layer it totally different. So, but I think when you listen to Priest, you can hear the different, like it could be a rock band, but it's not,
That is amazingly well put. I definitely agree with that. At this point in your life, Mercury, how important is kind of your personal satisfaction for playing music? Because obviously 2 years in Ghost, that band is huge, one of the biggest rock bands probably in the world right now. But for you, there's been members out of there coming and going for all the years that the band's been together. Obviously, it's Tobias's kind of vision. For you, how do you kind of put that personal satisfaction, you have to put that very high, because to do this and to do the music you love and to be around people that you want to collaborate with, that's got to be the most important thing for you at this point, right?
Of course, and it's why do we do what we do? Why do I do it? Yeah, it's I can't. Why should I? What would I do else? You know, and that thought scares me. If I would quit this, you know, quit doing music, quit being creative, I'm scared. I'm too scared of even think that thought. So I'm just continuing. But that's important to satisfy yourself as well, to make it because you think it's fun and it's giving to you. And I think it's an exploration within yourself. You know, if you're creative, you can express yourself, and it's fun if you have a good thematics. You know, if you have a good inspiration. Like I watch a lot of movies. I get a reason for watching a lot of sci-fi and reading a lot of sci-fi and reading a lot of comic books just for inspiration, and that gives me comfort, because then I don't just do it because I like to read, you know, but I try to find inspiration and everything, and I think it's a journey, and I think it's exciting. You know, you learn new things, and it leads you to roads you probably wouldn't wonder if you weren't on that, if you didn't have this goal. It's not a goal, it's a journey, you know.
Yeah, and all part of the creative process, and that's kind of led us to where we are here. Again, the album Body Machine comes out July 15th. So excited for that. Man, so talk about the live performances, because I think you guys have an album release party coming up here on the 15th, and then you have some dates scheduled there in and around Scandinavia for August. So what else do you guys kind of have up as far as live performances? And how long had it been? I mean, obviously COVID hits, everybody's off the road. Like how much of an effect was that, and what kind of volume of tour dates do you kind of foresee having here in the rest of this year and on into 23?
We hope to gig as much as we can, of course. You know, we have a gig tomorrow in Sweden, one of Sweden's biggest festivals in this kind of genre. Tomorrow at Subkultfestivalen, and then we play release gig next week, as you said. But then we're going out with Combi Christ, big band in genre, for 3 weeks or so, and then after that we're actually doing some gigs with The Crooks and Frontline Assembly in Scandinavia as well. So we're doing Europe, Scandinavia, but we are in the works of coming over the pond and finally come over to the US, you know. And that's we're working on it, and it looks like we're coming over in October. We just keep our fingers crossed, you know. So hopefully that, and we have a gig in Mexico as well. So we have stuff coming, and we're planning for next year as well. And if not this fall, guarantee you that we'll come over to the US early next year. But October, it should be October.
Wonderful news there. So Mercury, I've become someone that is a lover of all music, from hard rock all the way down. I always tell people I listen to everything from Slayer to Cyndi Lauper. So if you can fit in between there, I'll probably give it a shot. So
two great bands, artists, you know.
Those are my go-tos. So something about Sweden as a country, maybe Scandinavia in general, you know, from places like Norway and Finland, but Sweden specifically, I want to focus on. There are so many bands that have come out in the last 10 to 15 years. And it's almost like, I always say the best American rock and roll is coming from Sweden. Bands like Crazy Licks and Heat, bands that are kind of throwbacks to the kind of 80s, you know, rock style. Bands like yourselves. There's so many bands from Sweden. What is it about that country? The only answer I've ever really gotten on that is the lead singer from Crazy Licks said that there's just such a focus on the arts in Sweden that it's easier to maybe start up a band, and there's more support for the arts and getting a band started up. Is that kind of what your answer would be to that? And why has Sweden become the epicenter for all things music? It's really incredible.
Thank you, and it makes me proud as a Swede, of course, to hear that. And but I can't say that I think US doing pretty good as well, you know.
I don't know,
but I think we got a lot of support here. At least we did. I don't know if it's the same today. as it was. So, but definitely when I grew up, it was like that, and we could easily start forming bands and get money from the government to do so. And we got in, I can't talk for whole of Sweden, but I think the confidence in making it wasn't that big before ABBA, actually. So when ABBA came out, it was like a proof that we can make it too. And then I think many more people tried a lot harder, and it can be something from that as well. Then it's people seem, and then we have cold winters. So what do? You sit inside, and you go down to your basement and lay down some tracks. But it's funny to say we have a lot of Swedish songwriters working in Los Angeles as well, like Max Martin and Shellback doing for Oscar Holter is like a synth dude from Sweden that writes for The Weeknd right now, and that's doing the synthy, like Blinding Lights and songs like that, the Billboard top songs. So it's I don't know, it must be the water, right?
That's what they all say. No, that's what they all say when I ask why is everyone from Sweden so good looking. They say it's the water. I'll buy it. We'll never know with you, Mercury, unless you wanted to unmask on this show. And
if I take this off, I wonder if you would say the same.
That's what I was wondering. I'm guessing the answer is absolutely yes, of course.
No.
So I'm trying to put this together mathematically, and I'm not sure if I have the timeline right for this. I mentioned I'm a big Iron Maiden fan. I know Ghost opened for Iron Maiden, I think in 2015. Was that during your run and Ghost?
2015 was the end of my run, so I didn't tour 2015, sadly. But we toured with Maiden I did a couple of shows with them in Latin America and also in Europe. So I know the drill, but hopefully it was the Meliora album out with Ghost then, so it must be a good show. Must have been a good show.
Yeah, and it's funny because Iron Maiden's kind of notorious for bringing bands out that maybe people don't get into as much, or maybe
really
make them look better.
Yeah.
Ghost was the opposite. It was like, man, that was almost a mistake, I think, because Ghost was really hitting its stride. I think that's around the time. Yeah, that was. I think they just had the huge hit come out, and that. So yeah, it was just very interesting. So when you look at where Ghost has gone and how big, and they just were here with Volbeat here in Kansas City where I live. Do you cheer? Is it one of those deals where you cheer for them? You applaud the popularity, or is it just kind of like you look back and you're just like, I'm separated from that. I don't really care what they do. I mean, what's kind of your feelings about the band now that you're removed from it for the last 5 years?
Last 5, I think. Actually, so just to make it clear, it's like I toured the second album, and I was fired during the recording of the third album, Meliora. But I should have had but when I listen to Meliora, I think it's maybe the best album, and I think it's a superb album, and that was the album that won all the awards, and
right,
Grammys and stuff. So I think that album was close to be a masterpiece in the genre. I really think that. After that, I don't think actually they've matched it by far. And I think the popularity, of course, it's if that's what people want to see, that's fine, and nothing wrong with it. But I think the last record is it's not very good, to put it simple. It's my taste, but but I can say that Meliora is close to a masterpiece as well. So I think something have happened with the band, and you can clearly hear the difference in the songwriting there and today. So, and I only listen to Impera is the latest record. I skipped through the song once, and then I try to listen to the whole thing when I turn it off halfway. So I can't really, it's not, but I don't have any feelings around it really. It's they let them have the fun, you know. If they think it's fun and have a good time, let them have it.
And meanwhile, you get to do your thing and you get to really empower. And I think
exactly. And I'm very happy for that. So it's I'm not complaining.
Right, absolutely. So I just think that the hope for this album is so high. And I think that just seeing on sites like Blabbermouth and some of the popular sites here and just the anticipation and this and things like that, I think that there is just a groundswell for this project. Do you think though that it hurts in a way? Because like you don't, when you market this, when you market Priest and you market this, there's a tendency to be like, oh, this features former members of Ghost, but you guys don't really do that. And you guys, obviously people don't know what you look like. Is it hard to sort of market this without using that? And then obviously, you know, people just don't know what you look like. So does that create a challenge?
Yeah, it can create challenges, but as long as, you know, it's not only us in the band, we work with different other people, you know, press and record label, you know, and we have continuous discussion about what's good PR and what's not. If we can reach out to more people still using the Ghost shtick, the card, we'll do it. And because if that brings more people to the show, we have more people to convert, right? So we'll go for it as long as people think it's worth reading or think it's interesting. So, and I have plenty of stories to tell about it if I want, you know. But we're doing our own thing, and I'm very confident that no matter what's been said by me or anybody else, according to former stuff that happened, I think I'm pretty confident that our music stands on its own. And if you're going into another world when you listen to it anyway, you don't have to think about the people behind the mask of old dramas, you know. That can be fun to read. I can read that stuff too. I think it's interesting. And I don't take that away from anybody, you know. I have nothing to hide, so ask me anything. Yeah. But I have such confidence in our music, so and I know it speaks for itself. So
it does.
Two different things.
That's very true, and that means that this music has forged its path, and it is on a tremendous path. And I think that the direction that the band's in is tremendous. I mean, think about this: you get a Signal and Noise in the trailer for a Mel Gibson movie, Hot Seat, which that's huge to me. As we just saw, I don't know if you've seen the new season of Stranger Things, but we saw Master of Puppets blow up just from that, and the Kate Bush song. From that, they can literally enter the charts just from being on these shows. It shows the power of it, and maybe there's something to that for you guys. That a movie like this, you know, a couple years. I mean, you never know. This kind of music could wind up on a season of Stranger Things. I still
have to pinch my arm about that because it's surreal, you know, to have a song in a Hollywood movie with Mel Gibson. You know, it's just.
How did that come about? Did they reach it? Did they reach out? Does your people kind of send that out? How does that happen?
Yeah, I think Cleopatra Records. Hi, Brian, and all the other guys doing a great job. They're based in Hollywood, of course, and of course they know some people. But the opportunity came up, and we looked at the movie, and it was like a cyber thriller with hackers, and you know, some imagery that goes in line with what we also do, because we're a cyberpunk band, you know. So it's and with Mel, I was already sold when Mel Gibson came up, you know. But it seemed to be a very good fit for our music to be in a movie like that, and it's just a big bonus that the legend Mel Gibson with the Oscar winner director actor is in that movie as well. That's just sick, you know, and I'm very proud of that, and you know, I can die happy probably.
Well, I that is absolutely perfect, and I'm just so excited for this. I just am loving this conversation so much, Mercury. I got to hit you as we head out with our final 4 drum roll, which is 4 quick questions. It's fun. You give us whatever comes to mind, and we will say goodnight? Because it's probably getting close to your bedtime there in Sweden. You're like 8 hours ahead of us, so it's getting late there, sir.
Yeah, but feel free, just hit me with the drum roll, you know.
You got, I mean,
it's no worries, no worries. I have another call in like a while, but no stress.
We will get you to that, my friend. Question one, just very simple. What was the first concert you ever attended? What was your first show?
Oh, if you shit, that's I can't. I was a lot around when I was a kid, watching my parents, you know, play. But the one that comes to mind, one of the first is Wu-Tang Clan,
Ooh.
97. I probably was on some concerts before that, but that was the big one. But then same day I saw Rage Against the Machine and The Prodigy and Rammstein, same day. So it was that was anything before that is like erased. That was my big, you know.
Yeah, I'd say that was some kind of a gig there. That's incredible. Wow. That's amazing.
On a festival, like it was like the fest. I was underage.
Was that like Sweden? Was that like Sweden Rock or something? What was that?
It was before Sweden Rock. It was a festival called Hultsfred Festival.
Yeah,
like, it was the biggest one in Sweden at that time, and they just Daft Punk was there the same year, the day after. Nick Cave, you know. So at 14 years of age, I just got so blasted with probably the best concert experiences I ever had. So my top three concerts is like Rage Against the Machine and The Prodigy that year. But then I saw Kraftwerk a couple of years later, and that's my top three concerts. You know?
That's amazing. Judging by that, what you just said, I think we're right around the exact same age. So there's that. That's pretty cool. Question two, during COVID, did you wear your mask anywhere just to piss anybody off, scare anybody? Did you ever just wear that into a store, and just for the hell of it?
Yeah, it's it was you had to wear a mask, you know. You had to wear like, so
yeah.
If I didn't have a death, this had to go on. So no.
Yeah, so you're not wearing one of those little cloth things, like you just wear that.
No, I just wear it works, like it's very safe, you know. It's
I'm surprised they didn't mandate those for everyone, because those are the ones that probably the only ones that would actually work.
Yeah, yeah, because you breathe your own stuff back and forth in it, you know.
Yeah, that's
of course, but of course we have to, everybody had to stay safe, and you do your best for just to everybody to not getting sick, you know, and getting the fucking. Oh, I'm glad we're probably over.
Yeah, or over what? Yeah, we've moved on anyway.
I don't know, you know.
Is there a band or bands that when you toured with Ghost? This is question 3 of our 4. A band or bands that you toured with, because your musical collection, you know, diversity is obvious. You're very diverse, obviously, as a music fan. Is there a band or bands that you toured with or played with? God, you played so many festivals. You talked about Iron Maiden and things like that. Is there a band that really stood out that just like, okay, you're making it, you're in this big rock band that's blowing up, but there's a band that you toured with or played with or had an interaction with that just completely starstruck you?
Metallica.
Well, that would do it. What festival was that?
I actually met Hetfield. He probably won't remember it, but it was before I was in Ghost, but I knew the guy. So I was in Finland back in 2012, I think. And I stood, and then I saw me and I think Simon stood outside the trailer, and then Hetfield came with sunglasses and black leather jacket walking towards us, and I was like, oh, he coming up to us, you know. And then he started talking, and then I was pretty starstruck. But then he wanted to take a photo with the whole band, unmasked Ghost. And I was the guy that got his camera, his phone, and to click the say smile, and then but he had the shell on his phone. Guess what he had on that? Green flames. So you can't get more rock and roll than green flames. You know, that's Flames is rock and roll, but Green Flames is even more rock and roll.
It is, or I guess they did have semen on a album cover. It was red,
Yeah.
but you know,
Blood,
it could
blood
either
and
way.
semen, yeah,
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it actually was. That's a great story. And that reminds me of a couple years ago, right? Obviously, before Eddie Van Halen died, Eddie Van Halen was at a Tool concert, and a fan asked Eddie Van Halen to take a picture of he and his friend at the Tool concert. It's like, you just asked Eddie Van Halen to take a picture of you instead of taking a picture with Eddie Van Halen. I mean,
that's so fucked up.
I think Wolfgang like took a picture of it happening, and like these guys,
yeah, but nobody knows this was Eddie.
It's like, oh my God, of all people to ask just to take your picture at a concert, you just and Eddie did it. It's hilarious. And I love stuff like that, because rock and roll, it's such a big world that it's like all this stuff could happen, and you just the cross paths with so many bands. Last question for you, Mercury, and we'll get you out of here. Is there a song or multiple songs from the new album that you're most looking forward to playing live? To me, I'm such a fan of A Signal and The Noise, and of course the video Techno Girl. Like either one of those, or is there another song that you're looking forward to unveiling in a live setting?
Yes, and it's a song called Nightcrawler, and
great song.
Thank you. And I think I'm not saying too much now, but we're actually going to premiere it live tomorrow. So I'm very stoked about that. I'm almost a little, not shaky, but it's like I'm a little nervous about that. But that's going to be fun to see how the audience reacts to that song without ever heard it before. I hope, because the album isn't out yet. So it's going to be those who are there maybe gonna hear it for the first time. So that's going to be pretty wild. So that's and it's a video out for that one as well, the 15th. So it's going to be released as a video single the same day as the record comes out, the 15th of July.
Perfect.
So don't miss out on that. It's going to be, I'm stoked to show that as well. Yeah.
Well, I'm stoked for this, Mercury. I tell you what, we mostly do, quicker interviews here, 20-25 minutes. I did 25 minutes with Dee Snider from Twisted Sister, and we've done over 30, my friend, because that's how big of a fan I am. I feel like we're kind of kindred souls in some ways. So hopefully you get your asses to America, or I can get my ass over there, and we'll connect, my friend. We got to do it.
Make sure to shoot us a text before so we can have a beer or something. It will be fun.
We will absolutely do it. Best of luck with the release of the new album, which I think is tremendous. July 15th through Cleopatra Records. You can visit the band's website to get all the information. It is priestnexus.com. It's all there. Mercury, you're the best. We'll catch up soon, my friend.
You're the best, Clint. All right.
Fun.
Bye.